In this worksheet, you can see a variety of different border styles being applied to make the data offset, stand out a bit. You'll also notice that the grid lines have been turned off. If you are going to apply borders, as we see, for example, in columns B and C, over in column E, probably it shows up a bit better if we're not seeing the grid lines. Remember, you can click the View tab and add or take off grid lines throughout the entire worksheet. It's an on-off button. It's grid lines. And we'll show you the difference in a second here. Now, suppose I want to put a border on these cells here. Right-click, Format Cells, and don't always count on the Border tab having been active. It depends on what you've done recently, but if it isn't, click the Border tab. Now, possibly when you're adding borders, you might want to consider color, so you might start with that feature first. You don't necessarily do that one first. Maybe we want an orange color here, and then you pick a border style. Do you want a thick line, a double line, some other variation here? Do you want this border just on the perimeter, as it might look here? Or do you want it on the inside cells as well? So possibly there. I doubt if you're going to use this one very often. You might not. You can also click the various components in this display area here too. For example, if I click the one on the right, I wouldn't really want to proceed with that, but that's a possibility. Or click it again. And here and there, depending upon what's being outlined, sometimes you want to consider that variation as well. So as we click OK here, we'll see some changes. And again, it's always a good idea once you've applied changes, click outside of it. Here it's pretty clear what's going on, but you might want to turn off the grid lines anyway. It accentuates what we've done here more clearly. If there's a particular set of cells where you simply want to put a simple border on, suppose on these cells here, there is a keystroke shortcut, Control, Shift, ampersand, above the number 7 key, puts a simple border around the highlighted cells. Again, click outside of the area to see what's happened. If you would like to get rid of borders, maybe you've decided these borders here just don't serve much purpose. Maybe, and there are two different kinds here as well. Highlight all of these. Keystroke shortcut, Control, Shift, underscore, and that removes all borders within the selected area. Now there's also a way to draw a grid. You see the grids here. You can actually draw these if you wish. It does mean resurrecting a feature out of Excel's past. If you right-click anywhere in the Quick Access toolbar, you can choose Customize Quick Access Toolbar and choose Commands From, choose All Commands. And in this choice here, you'll see a number of draw border features. And you might want to experiment with some of the different ones, but I'm going to use the last one here, which is called Draw Borders. Add, click OK. Now, you might later remove this from the Quick Access toolbar because you don't use it very often. You certainly have that option. I want to use it now, so I'm going to click this button, and I might want to consider just a simple, maybe I'll use this dash line here. I want to use the dash line, and I could add color, so I'll click this again. This isn't exactly the fastest way. Maybe use a dark green here. And then I'll come back a third time possibly to do what? Either I'm about to draw just an outer border or maybe a border grid. And down here, I want to draw a border grid starting at this point. So come back up here, choose Draw Border Grid. It activates the pointer. Notice the dots in the worksheet as well. I want to grid over this section right here. By pressing Escape, those other dots that we see out here will disappear. So you can either draw a grid as I did here or the other approach. Now, it does take a little longer to have to constantly go back and forth to that particular tool. So that may not be something you'll use that often, but there is a way to do that as well. I think if you get used to the standard way of doing this, it's going to work pretty smoothly for most people. And again, a reminder, you can quickly get into Format Cells a variety of ways. Control-1 is another way. Activate this particular dialog box, and if border isn't selected, select it, and then pursue some of the options that we saw earlier within this particular dialog box.